So, we're going to get started tonight, and we're going to discuss tonight what some people would call dirty words. 5 words that some people seem to run from. They don't want anything to do with it. Sometimes it's because they just don't know how to use them correctly. And others gravitate to these words, some with intentionality and determination, and some just come hardwired this way. So, first word, 4 letters, plan. That's right. It's okay to use this word. Plan is it's developed in advance. So it's a method of doing something, proceeding, making, but it's all done in advance, which means just a little bit of premeditated thinking. It's a verb, action word. Measure twice, cut once. Second word, organize. One definition is to put oneself in a state of mental competence to perform a task. The third word, prepare. That's to put things or oneself in readiness, to get ready. The fourth word, and this word gets a lot of slack, but in the right context, it's very powerful. It's routine. So a customary or regular course of procedure. Basically, everybody knows what should happen. And the fifth and last word for tonight is order. It's the disposition of things following one after another. A methodical or harmonious arrangement. Now, you may be wondering, what in the world am I going to be talking about on these words? But God made each of us unique. But if you have to put all of us in a category, then some are planners. Not everyone does it the same way, but the goal is accomplished. And some people are fire extinguishers. So they go around and tend to whatever fire is bigger at the time. Now, planners do have fires that they have to put out. Things come up that they're not planned on. It's just part of life. We have to be flexible. And some planners have contingency plans in the back of their heads for those fires, so they're not totally caught off guard. Fire extinguishers don't want to mess with something until it's a fire. Then they go full gear. That's their time to shine. But it's very important to have balance, both of those. So we need to learn from the strength of others to help our weaknesses. Fire extinguishers are kind of fly by the seat of your pants type. Get up in the morning and see what happens today. Some people really like this. Others wish they could change. Planners get up in the morning with a plan for the day. They know what needs to be accomplished and they set out to do it. For them, fires are not welcome, but they are dealt with. And too many fires in a day makes for a very long day and a failed day to a planner because their plan was not accomplished. But planners are in the same way that some really like this and others wish they could change. For years, I thought that I was too picky because that's what people would tell me. I was too organized because that's what people would tell me. I will say that only a few non-planners said that, but we tend to listen to the negative. And I also had people say that they wanted to be more organized. But I did. I focused on the negative part instead of the good part of that. So in the last couple of years, I've realized that this is a gift. But I need balance. So in case you haven't figured it out, I'm a planner. And this evening's teaching is brought to you by and endorsed by a planner's point of view. So I'm not going to try and pick on everybody else because I'm learning to see the other side of things as well. So my disclosure for the night is I'm not there yet. But neither are you, so it's okay. So, I can be as spontaneous as the next person as long as you give me a couple days. Check the schedule, check the finances, pack the bag, make my reservations. I'm spontaneous. So I've titled this teaching, Chaos versus Order. In 1 Corinthians 14:40, but all things should be done decently and in order. And then 1 Corinthians 14:33, for God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. So God wants his people to abound or excel in both what they are, their inward character, and in what they do, which is their behavior. And we seek to do our best to the glory of God. And because of who Christians are in Christ, we have our eternal hope, and we have the enabling grace of God available to all believers. Seeking to do our best and choosing what is best is part of God's will. And it's an evidence of spiritual growth and maturity. Now, with that being said, the pursuit of excellence is gratifying and it's healthy. The pursuit of perfection is frustrating, neurotic, and a terrible waste of time. So, don't strive for perfection, but excellence. So all of us are, this is 2 Corinthians 3:18. So all of us who have had the veil removed can see and reflect the glory of the Lord. And the Lord, who is in the Spirit, makes us more and more like him as we are changed into his glorious image. So we are to be like Christ. So let's just take the story of Jesus feeding the 5,000. It's in Matthew 14. So he withdrew privately to a secluded place. A side note on that, he needed downtime. I like that. But when he got there, the people had already heard that he was coming, so they had a crowd of 5,000. And the crowd, to me, could be considered a fire because he wasn't prepared. He hadn't planned on that. Did he say, "Are you kidding me? I can't get a moment of peace"? No. Jesus had compassion. He was flexible. And so after healing, then it's time to eat. The disciples are ready to send everybody away. And Jesus said, they don't need to go away. Now, he didn't have a prepared meal that he had already planned and off to the side, nice and neatly done up. But he did have a plan in his head. He told everyone to sit down in groups on the grass. That was getting them prepared. And then after giving thanks and breaking the bread, he delegated to the disciples to give it out to the people. Now, why did he have the groups set, or have the people set in groups? I kind of visualize that as groups of like tables, but they're sitting on the ground. So, do you realize the chaos that would have ensued had everybody just come up to get the food? I mean, imagine a classroom full of kindergartners and the teacher says, "Who wants a piece of candy?" "He hit me. Get out of line. I want this." I mean, not that the adults would do that, but there were women and children there as well. So most teachers are going to pass it out, or, everybody line up in an orderly fashion. Remember hearing that? I remember hearing that as a child. Everybody line up in an orderly fashion. So back to the 5,000, after they had eaten, Jesus even delegated again to the disciples to clean up. So you had 12 baskets of leftovers. All of this was done in an orderly and organized fashion. Aren't we supposed to be striving to be more like Jesus? Is that just on Sunday or prayer meeting day? The world watches us. I mean, we are to be like him in everything we do, every day. The world outside is in total chaos. I mean, this is 2022. We've been in total chaos for 2 years now. Chaos and confusion. And for the most part, we have no control over that. Okay, we can make a mark on a sheet of paper showing who we think is best to represent our morals and our values. But as we've seen, that may not be counted correctly. That person may or may not do what they said they were going to do. That's out of our control. We can control the way that we react to it. But we are representing Christ, bottom line. It's like we are a walking billboard for him. He's not a clutter of chaos. He's a God of order. So, there are protocols and order in heaven. There should be protocols and order in our services. I've not been to a disorganized and chaotic service myself, but I've heard stories. And you know what the stories I heard were? Had nothing to do with the service, had nothing to do with what they learned, had nothing to do about worshiping. It all had to do about the chaos that was going on and how they felt and who didn't have this and who didn't have that. And that's what people remember. Nobody showed up until 20 minutes after. Nobody could find the preacher. 15 to 20 minutes later, after everybody straggles in, then the worship team figures out what they're going to sing. And they check their mics. No one knows who's taking the offering. One hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing because nobody communicated. Now, we should all be flexible to give way to Holy Spirit, but when it's chaos, you feel it. And it's a mess. And that's not the takeaway that you should have. My time is valuable. It sounds like a waste of time and a poor example of Christ to me. So God gives us clear instructions on order in the church throughout the Bible. In 1 Timothy 3, it says, For if someone does not know how to manage his own household, how can he care for God's church? There's an order to a courtroom. There's an order and an organized way to drive. The streets are in an organized fashion. I mean, you don't drive the wrong way on the road. Red means stop. Green means go. Depending on how close you are, yellow means hurry up. But when you have a meeting, have you prepared for it? Do you have the necessary files or papers ready? Because as a professional, that wants to make a good impression and wants to be taken seriously, you prepare. It's important to file the files in a way that you and your staff can find them easily and quickly, because you can get much more done and you can find what you need when you need it. So time management, you organize and you plan errands. And you can get more done in less time. And using less gas, which is financially responsible right now. But you may be saying, how? I want more organization in my day. I know I need to improve my time management. But how? Or I know I need, now here's another word, a budget. But how? So how do we bring order into our individual lives? We can't do much about out there, but our individual lives can have order. So, now don't get defensive, but some of my suggestions have lists. All of my suggestions have premeditated thinking. So, if you take just a minute in your head, or a couple of minutes to write down a list, you can get more done in less time with no chaos. Everything takes practice, and don't expect perfection. But once you learn some tips and tricks, it'll become second nature. And then you can give me some tips and tricks to being more spontaneous and more carefree. Let me know when that is, and I'll schedule you in. So, the first thing is we have to stop and think. How can I be more efficient in less time? How will this affect me? How will this affect others? So let's look at something that we all do. Errands, okay? Let's see if I can get through this here. Okay. So, just a couple of errands. You need to pick up your dry cleaning and drop some off. And this is a must because you need your suit for tomorrow for a meeting. Now, the only reason you know this is because of pre-planning or possibly a spouse. That they realize that you need that suit and that it needed dry cleaning. So you need to pick up some 11 by 14 copy paper, and the only place you can go is Office Depot. It's the only one that carries the brand that you like. And then you need to run to Walmart to get the ingredients for dinner. Spaghetti, garlic bread, salad. No big deal. And you only have $50 to spend, and it's 104 degrees outside. So, you have no plan, no lists. Let's just get it done as quickly as possible. So, I'm going to bring this over here. You start here because you are here. And you see Walmart here, so you're just going to run right on out over here to Walmart. Okay, and you go and you grab your spaghetti and your sauce, and then you remember that you need butter, and then salad. You go to the front, and you're waiting behind someone, and you remember you need bread. So you get out of line, and you go all the way over and get the bread. Then you go, this is better up here, sorry. Okay. Then you know you need to get to the dry cleaner. So you run up here to the dry cleaner. You drop off your clothes. You figure you're on a roll, you're going to run over here and go to Office Depot. Okay. So you get your paper. Now you're at the front. And there's this cutest little gadget. It's only $10 and it's so cute. You're feeling good. You know there's a Chick-fil-A right down the street. And you're hungry. Now, there's an office lunch at 12, but you're hungry now. So you're just going to run over there and grab something. You're here at Office Depot. You're going to run up here and you're going to grab something at Chick-fil-A. And as you're waiting in this very pleasant line, you realize that you forgot the hamburger meat at Walmart. Who can have spaghetti without hamburger meat? So the Chick-fil-A person comes up. Good afternoon. How may I serve you? You don't have time to think about the small little snack that you wanted, so just give me a combo. My pleasure. You have your meal, and off you go back to Walmart. Okay. You wolf down the combo on the way back to Walmart. You run in and you grab the hamburger meat. Then you remember the salad dressing that you also forgot. But you don't remember which one it is. So you just get both kinds. Back in line, you're standing behind this man that's in a suit. You realize you didn't pick up your suit. All you did was drop off your stuff. So now you go back to, where are we? We're at Walmart. We go back up here to the dry cleaners. Well, now we don't have any cash left because we already spent it all. So we put it on the card. You're rushed, and you're not real sure that you got everything. But you're back at the office. Let's go back to the office. Okay. You're back to the office. You're a little late, but it's okay. Now, you took a minute to make your list. And you remembered to take your list. This is very important. Okay. I've left many a list. You thought it through, and you started at the dry cleaners. Reason being is because you don't want your food in the 104-degree weather during that whole trip, so your Walmart is going to be your last stop. So you run up here to dry cleaners and you checked your list, so you run up and you drop off and pick up your dry cleaning. Now you run over to Office Depot. And you see this cutest little gadget, but it's $10 and you've only got your $50. Maybe next time. Then you're off to Walmart. You've got your list and you start in the back with the butter. And you work your way forward, checking off the items as you go. You're done and you're headed back to the office. You didn't need Chick-fil-A because you realized that you were going to be back for a free lunch at the office. That's a little more calming. So basically, didn't we go to Walmart? Oh, no, we went this way. And then we go this way. So, here we go. Just like that. Now, let's take a look at the money part of it. When you do something because you want to, when it's out of the order of a plan, then you've disrupted others and their plans. So, that cute little gadget, the extra salad dressing and the big meal, add it up. So now for the money has to be redone. You have to juggle it because there's $25 that come off of your card. Is that your mess? Or is it now someone else's? Don't make other people clean up the mess that you made by spending unnecessarily. Now, we run into fires all the time that we have to go over, but unnecessarily. The Bible says, prefer others over yourselves, even in this area. So now this has caused time, stress, strife. You have to look at what you're causing in other people. Okay? We had a Thanksgiving dinner several years ago, and there was a set time that 20 people were supposed to get together and eat Thanksgiving dinner. That's a pretty big deal. You all know how to Thanksgiving dinners. So the time came, and 4 or 5 people are late. A couple of them called, maybe 10 or 15 minutes late. After 25 minutes, we had to call the last 2 people. They live 20 minutes away. Food's all ready, and we're trying to keep it warm. The couple were new parents and newlyweds. We gave them grace. New baby, So when we called, baby had a blowout. Chaos. We'll be there. But then when they got there, an hour and a half after the time, one of them said, yeah, it just took us a while because we just couldn't get off the couch. It was so cozy. So they had 18 people waiting for Thanksgiving dinner because they were just cozy. So we had people that had to eat quickly and leave because they had plans after that. Another time before this, we had a Thanksgiving's the thing, I guess. But we had another Thanksgiving dinner where one person was consistently 2 hours late. Different person, no baby, no nothing. But consistently was 2 hours late. So we told him dinner was at 1. And he shows up at 3 o'clock as we're sitting down to eat dinner. We thought we had that done, but then someone opened their mouth and told him that what we'd done, so we couldn't use it again. But now we have a rule. At a certain time, if you're not there, we eat without you. It's just how it is. But the point is, you have to think about others. Don't be selfish when other people are involved and whenever it rolls down the line. You have to think, what are your actions going to do to others? So, don't be a distraction during a meeting and talking to your neighbors while the speaker is speaking. The people behind you see your heads bobbing. You're a distraction to the speaker. And I guarantee you the people behind you, the people in front of you, if you're behind them, can hear everything that you're saying. And they didn't come to hear about your tomatoes. They came to hear about the speaker. These may all seem like little stuff. However, as mature Christians, we are to hold ourselves to a higher standard. Think about this. What in the scriptures are we going against in these examples? We're not preferring others over ourselves. We're preferring ourselves, which in turn is selfishness. Self-control, discipline. We're causing anxiety, possibly strife, chaos, and confusion. And we're not doing everything in excellence. So all the scriptures apply, not just the ones that we want to comply with. Now, there's sometimes when we just don't think about something. We haven't had that brought to us, so we don't think about something. But once it's pointed out, then it just kind of makes sense. Then you notice it everywhere, wherever you go. For example, like a buffet, laying out the dishes for a buffet. So why is a buffet so important? What does it matter? Well, for this teaching, it's an example of thinking things through. So, have you ever been to a buffet line and the plates were at the other end? Usually the plates are in the front. Makes sense. So if you start, let's say you have a taco bar. You have tacos, burritos, rice, beans, casserole, cheese, all the toppings. You start at the beginning with your plate and silverware. Now you go to load your plate. I got the taco meat, but I have no shell. So I got to run all the way down here, get a shell, cut back in line. Eventually, somebody's going to start throwing food because you don't want to miss your place in line. So you get this bottleneck of people, 4 or 5 different people, trying to get in each different area to get what they need. Besides the fact that you've got tons of people standing in line waiting. Okay? So here's how it goes. Plates, bowls, silverware, napkins. Shells and tortillas. Then the meat. Then the beans. Now, make sure that the beans are positioned so that they are not spilling into the meat as they're fixing the plate. We're reaching over, dropping it all in the meat. Because some of us can't stand beans. It's me. So, then you have your lettuce, your cheese, your sour cream, everything that goes on top. Then you've got the bowls again before you get to the queso for the people that didn't think they were going to need a bowl, but now they see the queso and want a bowl. Then you've got another table for drinks and desserts. Plates and forks for desserts. Cups, ice, sugar, creamer, whatever kind of drinks, your spoons. The line flows smoothly. There's less people having to get back in line because they forgot something. It's easy peasy for everyone. So, when you do baked beans, just anything messy, you want that towards the front so they don't drip all over your mashed potatoes. Just want to make that clear because, again, we don't like beans. So, personally, I actually wait until the end because I have several bowls that I put everything in because I don't want it touching. So, you may think this is very picky. But that's called thinking it through. I want everyone to be able to get their food quickly, efficiently, and with minimal mess. So, I don't like messes either. Most professional caterers will set up like this. But if they don't, you will notice. So it only takes a few minutes to think it through. But it's worth it not to have that chaos and that confusion. You know, we do several events, so I could do a whole teaching on what to do in the events and the order and the hospitality and the manners and the etiquette. But this one is on the chaos versus order. You know, some things are just manners and etiquette. That's it. You don't get super close. Get out of my bubble. You're mindful of talking too loud in a public place or on a phone in a public place. You know, when you're in Walmart, you hear one side of the conversation very loudly and you want to hear the other side so you know which side to be on. But no one needs to hear your conversation. So, you don't put your fingers in a bowl of food that's meant for everybody. I mean, these are just manners and etiquette. I've had to work on several areas. I'm still working on several areas. And I will see new areas in the future that I will have to work on because we're all a work in progress. But if we learn a few tips and tricks from me, I can learn from you. And when we're all helping each other become more like Christ, we're in unity. We're all strong in some areas and we're all weak in other areas. So, we're a type and a shadow of Christ. What are we portraying to other people? Are we portraying the spirit of chaos and confusion or selfishness that surrounds us? Or do we portray order and peace and thinking of others? And we can have fun and still have order. Okay, the goal is to be more like Christ. Do all things in excellence. Not perfection, but an excellence. The Bible says that chaos and confusion are from the enemy. God is a God of order and peace. So, another example that I have is I'm designing my own house. So when I started laying out the floor plan, I mentally walked through the house, coming in through the front door as other people will see it, and then coming in through the garage as I will see it and what I will use first. So when I come home, I park in the garage. I usually have at least 3 or 4 bags that I'm toting in because I'm one of those people that we're going to carry everything in on one load, all arms, all fingers. And I want to be able to put my purse down, put my bags down, have a table there. And I don't want to see the laundry room first. I don't want to remember that I have clothes to wash, clothes to iron, clothes to fold, or clothes to put away in the closet. I want to be able to shut that door until I need to do that. But I do want to walk into a room where I can drop my purse, I can drop my bags, I can hang my keys up, and have a powder room fairly close. Because as soon as you get to the house, your bladder says, yay, I need to go to the bathroom, and now. So I want a powder room at the back part of the house. Well, by the garage. So I've gone through the whole house in my mind in the summer, in the winter, the fall, and the spring. I mean, in those seasons, not necessarily I did it each season, but I want to make things convenient for myself and convenient for other people. Where are they going to put their galoshes? If it's raining outside, where are they going to put their umbrella? I want them to have a place to put their stuff down. So I used to say, I will spend more time creating something to be lazy. But really, I can spend time on something one time, and it saves me time every single day. So if I do the same thing over and over, I always want to find an easier and faster way. It's just the more chaos and confusion that we can get out of our lives, our individual, this is my little life right here, the more that we can get out of our lives, and the more order and peace that we can get into our lives, the more like Christ that we portray. So, to wrap it up, stop and think things through. And it doesn't take a long time of sitting down. Just stop and think it through. Run it through real quick. So that is how you plan, how you prepare, how you organize, have routine, and have order.